Welcome to LatiNation, celebrating your generation from coast to coast. I'm your host, Humberto Guida, here giving you the latest, greatest, freshest takes on what it means to be Latino in the USA. And you know what is starting to be more evident in pop culture today? The inclusion of the Latino role in the American story. Now, we are still the most underrepresented group in media entertainment, but the more that we are included as pivotal characters in the plots, the better. And while we need to see more of ourselves in the inspiring roles, there is a benefit to seeing Latino characters and stories that are less uplifting and more cautionary. Take the drug wars, for instance. With shows like Narcos, audiences have become increasingly fascinated by this tragic episode of human history, one which continues today with Latinos being major influences on both sides of the saga. And the exploration of that story continues with the current FX series Snowfall, a show that details the beginnings of the crack cocaine epidemic of the 1980s and its dire consequences. And up next, one of the breakout stars, Filipe Valle Costa, tells us more about the controversial show and why it's providing an important platform for Latino actors and writers right here on LatiNation.
Hello, my name is Filipe Valle Costa. I'm an actor from Portugal, all the way from Lisbon in Portugal, and I'm Pedro Nava on Snowfall on FX.
This is a war. We do what is required of us.
It's about the crack cocaine epidemic in the 80s. And it tells the story of how the CIA was actually responsible for a lot of it and how certain communities were left behind to suffer because of that reality. When I auditioned for Snowfall, I had no idea that it was going to tap into all of this. And that was a great surprise, and I was really, really happy that the show was going to approach all those themes. You know, the fact that it tells the story about CIA being responsible for a lot of the demise that was happening to certain communities, like the Mexican community and the Black community. Those are the stories you want to be telling right now, because that's very, very, very present in this country. And for me, specifically, being an immigrant, being able to play a character that comes from a family of immigrants, and realizing that very often the situation that you end up falling in, maybe we're better now, but maybe in the 80s, people saw no alternative, and that was it. You know, society was telling them, this is your job, this is what you get to do right here, all the dirty work, you know, and I think that's very relevant to a lot of what's happening in this country right now, so I'm happy to be part of it.
The hell is that? Our future.
I've been telling everyone that Snowfall really is a love letter to Los Angeles. You know, from a cinematic point of view, it's gorgeous to look at, and it shows that dark part of things, but it also gives you a lot of color and beauty, and you'll see the way it's shot is just gorgeous. They did such a good job. They brought these two directors from Belgium, Adil El Arbi and Fallah Bilal. They're just amazing. It's very cinematic. It's gorgeous to look at, and I couldn't be more proud to be part of a story that you know, elevates a city in such a beautiful way. So my theater company is called Saudade Theater. It's the first theater company in America ever devoted to giving Portuguese playwrights and Portuguese artists a voice. You know, when I arrived in New York City, my very first year, I felt a little bit lost because there were stories being told from every single perspective, but I felt like I wasn't telling my stories. And I started thinking, well, in 10 years, if another Portuguese artist arrives, I would hope that they have a home to go to right away and feel like this is a place where I can tell my stories and explore the work in a safe environment. So I decided to take it upon myself and start this theater company. I do think that we're going in the right direction in terms of inclusion. However, there's still a lot of work to be done, and that's why I started this theater company, because I felt that I had to explain a lot about what it meant to be Portuguese. And not just, you know, being Portuguese is not just being romantic. You know, people's like, oh, you're Portuguese, you must be romantic. You're Portuguese, you must be sensitive. You're Portuguese, you must be a poet. You're Portuguese, you must love the ocean. I do all those things, but there's also many other things about being Portuguese that don't relate to that, you know? So those are the stories that interest me, you know? It's the stories that challenge the stereotype and challenge what we've seen too much on TV and too much on film. Those are the ones I'm interested in.